Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rants alongside Tommy Christ and TK joining us from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood on this Friday morning edition of Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBear's Casino. I'm Ronnie Rants here in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame studios. Today on Sports Shorts Daily, we'll talk LSU football the day after their first practice. Tommy has some thoughts on LSU's day one practice and some news about a player that expected to have some significant playing time for the Tigers, who's no longer with them. In addition, big story internationally, Brittany Griner gets a 9-year jail sentence over in Russia. What does that mean for her? What does that mean for the WNBA and the United States and Russia, and what may be happening with that case? We'll get into the Brittany Griner discussion. Also, Deshaun Watson, another big story in the United States, facing a 6-game suspension. We know that. The NFL says they want more. Now it's up to a former attorney general of the state of New Jersey to rule on that. Tommy and I will weigh in on that conversation. Also, kind of recap the Baton Rouge Rougarou season. It came to an end this week. The Baton Rouge Rougarou made the playoffs for the first time ever. Went 0-2 against the Acadiana Cane Cutters. Lost Tuesday and then Wednesday on the road in a swamp atmosphere down there in Youngsville, but Acadiana put it on them. They'll now be playing Victoria in the championship in Texas Saturday night, 7 o'clock. You can watch it on TexasCollegiateLeague.com. All right, TK, first off, LSU football, day one in the books. And, boy, what a difference Brian Kelly makes, right? I mean, it's so transparent now. You know, the questions get answered pretty straightforwardly. Practices are going to be – some of them are going to be completely open. Most of them are – open for about at least half the practice. I mean, you feel like it's more of an NFL atmosphere covering the Tigers now versus a college close the doors, don't say anything approach.
Well, one thing is the media can stay, but there's a certain amount of time when all pictures and video and, you can't do a radio interview from the practice back to somebody's show. You can't come on Sports Shorts Daily, something like that. So there's a lot more transparency. I watched Brian Kelly's 12-minute post practice interview with Brian Kelly. Ronnie, he is very calculated. He's a very smart guy. And, I was impressed with these 12 minutes. And a lot of people are posting it if somebody out there wants to go see it. He has got, he's got a plan. He's talking about how they worked on first down. And in the second practice, they're going to get to some second downs. This guy's good. Answered every question with a good answer. He didn't say too much like Orgeron used to do, but he gave good answers that, the fans would want to know about. The two big things are Trey Bradford is no longer even in school at LSU. He didn't say why. He cited the Buckley Amendment that he can't talk on that. And also Jack Besh has got a few problems with shin splints, but they expect him back in a couple of days. Everybody else was out there, and he was very happy with the first practice and looking forward to the second practice. I think people are going to warm up to Brian Kelly the more you pay attention to him. Ronnie, you and I have seen hundreds and hundreds of press conferences with coaches, and Brian Kelly, he's not the warm and fuzzy guy. He's not Mike Leach and Lane Kiffin going to give you this hilarious quote. He's not Nick Saban, who's so regimented he doesn't ever say anything. He's somewhere in between, and I think that's a good thing. And I think as time goes forward, the LSU fans are going to enjoy having Brian Kelly as coach. And I think in time he's going to have tremendous success.
Or Trey Bradford, he should get an NIL deal with U-Haul because this was his second go around at LSU. Came here, left, went to Oklahoma, came back. Now he left, and we'll see where he ends up. And you're telling me he cited the Buckley Amendment?
Yeah, he couldn't comment as to why. He's not even in school, so it's not like he left the football program and he's going to class in 2 weeks. He's no longer enrolled in the university. And then before anybody could say what happened, he said, I can't comment on why due to the Buckley Amendment or the Buckley Law or whatever it is that Herb Vincent used to wear me out with that thing 25 years ago.
His quote was, Trey has been separated from the university. There are laws that I can't explain there, but they're not on the roster anymore. So, it's a shame. There's now basically 4 running backs there's basically 4 running backs now that are on the roster. Bradford, after all the time we've heard about his name and the comings and goings and the talent that he has, 69 yards, 12 attempts in his career at LSU. And you mentioned Besh out with some shin splints. It's funny, Besh was a pretty good high school basketball player at St. Thomas More. I don't ever remember him being out with shin splints in high school, but yet he's got shin splints in football. But he's going to, they'll give him all the time he needs. He's going to be a giant contributor this year. It's going to be nice, man, that for the media, we'll have to get out there and go to a practice or something this fall. And it's going to be nice to to watch the highlights and be able to see footage online that's just not calisthenics.
Well, and one thing, Ronnie, when you jumped away for a second, the media can stay, but there's a certain point when it can no longer take pictures, video, right, or you can't call in like a report to Sports Shorts Daily. Right. But they can get back to their medium or their platform and say, hey, this is what I saw. This is what it looked like, whatever. Chance makes a good comment. It looks like he lost a few pounds in the humidity. I agree with that when I watched the video early this morning. But that doesn't go with moving to Louisiana and eating all the good food. He said he loves char-grilled oysters and crawfish etouffee. He must be eating small portions.
Well, he's got a lot to do. I mean, you just get, you get the job, and you're going around shaking hands and kissing babies and meeting a lot of people, and you're on the go. You're building a program. There's a lot of things you got to do in year one, whether you're buying the Rougarou or you're being the coach at LSU, that you don't have to do in year 2. And I think that's what he's just been moving. But a little different out there on the pitch in August here versus South Bend, no doubt about it. He's going to find that out firsthand. He and his staff, any of his North American brethren that have been coaching up a few states above us, they're a little bit different. I mean, I remember talking with football players, and look, LSU's lost some football players that have transferred in camp because they just can't take it. Especially guys from California and whatnot. They think they know, and when they get here and they put on all that gear, and then you go out there and at day in and day out, and you suffocate in that humidity and heat, it is overwhelming. And you have to be mentally tough. And a lot of guys can't hack it, understandably, that come from other states. They've just never been anything about it. By the way, 5 players passed away. There were 5 different deaths in Mississippi over the last week and a half in high school and below because of heat issues. And so it's a real thing. It is different down here than anywhere else. All the more reason why Tiger Air is something you should have in your helmet. The little cooling device that Greg Stringfellow was a big part of, the LSU equipment manager, in developing it. And LSU has the patent on it. And it's literally, the Saints use it. LSU uses it. More and more people are using it. High schools are using it. You put the little air conditioned device. It's like a little puck like that. Fits in, and it's got on both sides, and it blows air kind of over your face, and it cools your body core temperature down. It's not like you're going to get super cold or catch a sore throat. It's not that kind of cold, but it just does enough to keep that core body temperature down to try to minimize and eliminate any heat issues. And it really works. And you're going to be seeing more and more people using that technology in the years to come.
Yeah, well, that's great. Didn't Rue, the mascot for the Rougarou, use that?
Rue, the mascot.
Right, I can remember all the years I coached travel ball. It was so hot, I would take the rag and put it on the back of my neck, wet rag, and that would help your body temperature. And that was a very amateur thing compared to Tiger Air thing that they got. So that's really cool. And hey, it's all about being safe, and that's a great thing.
They're actually Tiger Air realizes the need for more than just the football helmets. So construction helmets is a big part of their business, right? There's 20 times more people wear construction helmets around the world than they do football
plants
helmets.
Around South Louisiana.
Right.
I mean, gee.
But in addition to that, they're actually working on the technology to make it to where you can put something in your ball cap, or, if you're a football coach and they wear those little round hats, bucket hats, put something in there, just in general, things that can cool your head down as a fan, make it more comfortable, and so it'd be neat to see what happens from them over the next couple of years. All right, let's move on to an international story. Brittany Griner, you saw moments of silence last night in the WNBA at games all across the country. 42 seconds being her number. She got sentenced to 9 years in Russia, which obviously is extreme. It would never happen in America, where anyone with a vape pen or some, oils, essential oils or something that are illegal, anyone would ever get sentenced to 9 years. No one would even do jail time in the United States. It'd be a fine. But obviously Russia's taken this as an opportunity to send a message. And obviously right now, the United States and Russia, in theory and actuality, are at war against each other because the United States are supporting, their enemy. And so the Brittany Griner situation, I don't, I know people. Listen, I know she got caught up in the Black Lives Matter movement and all the protests and everything that happened a couple of years ago in this country, as did a lot of athletes, from LeBron James to everyone, to most athletes. And they kneeled during the anthem, and and she had some things that have been said that she probably regrets and whatnot. That said, regardless of what anybody thinks about Brittany Griner and the comments she made, and she didn't deserve 9 years. Okay. And it's kind of interesting to watch social media, how there's Americans that are almost cheering that now she got 9 years. Good. She should have never said the United States was a terrible country to live in. Well, granted, she regrets that now, but there's better ways that she could have learned a lesson than 9 years in jail.
And Ronnie, I've seen a video of where she's going to be staying. Trust me, it's as primitive and bad as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's a penal colony. I mean, it's
a work camp.
Yeah. I agree with you that 9 years is probably too long. Regardless of what she said about America, I think that's too long. However, this was pointed out. She's been going to Russia for 6 years. She makes about $250,000 a year in the WNBA. She makes over $1 million when she goes to this Russian league. Okay. And she's been going for 6 years. So she should have knew the laws. Mm-hmm. I went to Aruba 10, 12 years ago, and they handed you a card when you got on the plane, the Delta plane in Atlanta to fly to Aruba. Here are the different rules in Aruba. This is what you can do and not do as opposed to the United States. If it was her first trip to Russia, I could say, hey, she wasn't aware, although ignorance of the law is no defense. But 6 years over there, she should have known. There's stuff about packing the suitcase quickly. That doesn't work.
BS.
Okay?
We know that. Yeah.
No, she knew what she was packing. Okay.
Yeah.
And again, I think 9 years is too severe for what she did. Shouldn't matter, but I totally disagree with her comments. And karma can be a bitch sometimes. Okay, and we've all experienced that. Not serving a 9-year jail sentence. So, and Byron Painter says that may be a ploy to get the.
I agree with him. Yeah,
but here's the thing: 99% of the people arrested in Russia get convicted. Okay, I looked at some of those stats, and the prosecutors wanted 9.5-year sentence, and they ruled 9. So like they came off of it a little, 6 months. So I don't know. Now here's another thing that was pointed out. If there's a swap, she has to serve the time in the U.S. She just won't be in Russia, and she won't be in as severe of a place. But if there's a swap, it doesn't mean she's free.
There's no way, Tommy, that if there's a swap that they're going to put her in jail.
Well, that's part of the agreement of the swap. And then
maybe
nobody agrees that they should give this terrorist from Russia back to them. I mean, somebody said, well, if she wasn't a WNBA player, would anybody care? Well,
yeah.
Why a moment of silence? Don't you do that for people that died?
Yeah, I don't know. They paused for 42 seconds, which was her number. But I hate what she said. I hate the fact that and I agree with you. Karma's a bitch, but this is extreme. This is the equivalent of lying to your parents and sneaking out of the house, and they go, okay, well, you're on house arrest for the next 5 years. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, yeah, you should obviously not talk back to your mother, and you should not sneak out of the house, but you don't get punished for 5 years house arrest. I mean, this is just ridiculous. They are using it as leverage. We know. We'll see what happens. I think the United States is absolutely going to do some sort of prisoner swap at some point. I mean, this is just too giant of a case that's going to be in the face of the president for the next couple of years. I would be stunned, shocked, and amazed if she does 9 years in that jail. I would think sometime within the next 6 to 8 months that she's probably going to be a part of some prisoner swap.
We'll see. I'm not smart enough though to answer to that, but if you ask me to bet a Diet Coke on she's going to serve 9 years.
What I'm curious is, Kim Mulkey, of course, coached her at Baylor. And, obviously Kim Mulkey, I don't know. I haven't seen her come out publicly and, say anything. I mean, maybe she has and I just missed it, but
she has not, and she will not. I got inside info on that.
Yeah. And, that's just a no-lose situation. I mean, obviously free Brittany Griner. We know that. I mean, anybody can say that, but by the way, speaking of Kim Mulkey, she's going to be up in Shreveport. I'm actually going to be there. There's a banquet at the end of the month. It's the Independence Bowl kickoff dinner, and she's going to be giving the speech up there. Looking forward to that. All right. Let's move on. Deshaun Watson, another Oogie topic. Deshaun Watson facing 6 game suspension. We all agree that's 6 games too few, probably. What do you think happens? Now it goes to the Attorney General. The NFL has appealed the ruling. They want an indefinite suspension. It goes to the former Attorney General of New Jersey to kind of make a decision on this ruling. I mean, what do you expect? You've got one side saying indefinite suspension. You got one side's already ruled 6 games. Where do you think this lands?
First off, he turned down an offer from the NFL right before the first judge's ruling. He was offered a 12-game suspension and a $10 million fine. He turned it down. And what people are harping on is he still claims he did nothing wrong. He's not remorseful. He claims he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't break the law, whatever. And Roger Goodell, look, they tested the water with that the Sue L. Robinson's release of 6 games, and the blowback was immense from all different angles. And now they're going to push for a year suspension and a significant fine. And this person's once this former Attorney General for the state of New Jersey makes a decision, it's final. There's no more appeals or recourse or anything like that. And the NFL is pushing for a year and a significant fine, and I think they're going to get it.
I would think that, if I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm saying, I'm his defense. I'm saying, hey, wait a minute. They were willing to offer us a 12-game suspension and a $10 million fine. So to me, that's the starting point. And then you got the 6, which was the ruling. I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle. So for me personally, I would be surprised if it was more than 10 games. I would think 10 games is where it's going to land, maybe even 8. But I think they changed their mind and they went for the year plus because of the backlash. But they were willing and to say, hey, 12 and 10 just a few months ago, and nothing's changed other than the fact that actually on Deshaun Watson's side, things have cleared up even more. He settled the cases and things like that. So I'm going to go with my prediction, Tommy, is the 6 becomes 10. Wouldn't be surprised if it's 8. But if I had to, put my money on something, I'm going to go 10.
Well, I think what's working against him is the fact that he doesn't think he did anything wrong, and he's not remorseful. Go back. If Pete Rose would have admitted shortly after all that stuff went down that he bet on baseball, which he did, and he bet, on the Reds games, he may be back in baseball right now. I don't know that. That's pure speculation. But when Ronnie, you and I were talking, we both had great sets of parents that raised us. And if you did something wrong, you had to own up and admit it, and wear it and take the consequences. And, Deshaun Watson doesn't do this. 66 different massages over like a 15-month window through 66 different people. That's the other thing. The other NFL guys and that pro athletes that have screwed up, it was like with the one woman that they did something to, abused, whatever, 66 different times. That's predatory. That's being a predator and doing it on Instagram. And, I don't know. I think he's going to get the year and a very significant fine, and then, we'll see what happens.
Well, I would say, he's in a tough spot. He's in a tough spot because if you admit it, Tommy, then like first off, I'm sure there's a gag order. I'm sure whatever agreement he did, nobody can really talk about it, right? But if he comes out and he says he did it and I'm sorry, then you're admitting something that could potentially land you in trouble with the law. So you know, I mean, you have to go down the road of what he's saying, whether he did it or not. If you're Deshaun Watson, you've been able to settle all these cases out of court. None of them have been able to go except one, and you don't have police on you. You can just wrap this up. Let's all sign a gag order clause, to where nobody can talk about it. A confidentiality agreement in the settlement. Why does he need to do more than that? I mean, it's only worse for him if he admits anything, and he's never admitted it, and because they can't prove it. So that doesn't bother me. I don't ever expect he's ever going to admit what he did. He's going to say these are a bunch of women that colluded to lie, and they all realized there was money to be made, and they said I did something, and it's he said, she said, and he said, she said, I'll get some. I don't know how much money they all got. Have we heard any dollar amounts? Has anybody ever released anything on that?
That's been signed. That if they release that, they got to pay it back. So
well, no, I know. I was just wondering if there was any speculation.
I haven't heard any of that. But, the bottom line, then others have suggested that they're going to suspend him for a year. They're going to make him, get help, get counseling, get help, and I mean, he may have a personal problem aside from football. So I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be it's unfortunate for the Cleveland Browns, unfortunate for the NFL, it's unfortunate for the sports world. But you know what? Not everybody does what they're supposed to do.
Well, the regardless of whatever his suspension is, Tommy, Deshaun Watson can play football.
The other thing is talked about. He chose to sit out last year. That was his own deal. The league didn't make him sit out. The Texans didn't make him sit out. He chose to sit out.
If the New Orleans Saints had known that Deshaun Watson was going to be suspended for half the season, let's say it's 8 games, 9 games, half the season, do you think the Saints would have felt differently about going after him?
I would hope not. I would hope they. I know they. From what I understand, they pursued him a little bit, but I would hope they didn't go too aggressive with that. And I don't think that other part mattered. They're trying to. The Saints are just like the other 31 teams. They want football players on the roster that can help them win games.
Right.
And most teams, if not all, don't care about the baggage. Baggage, as John Gruden once said, baggage is when you can't play. That's baggage. But if you can be on the 55-man roster now, whatever it is, and you can help that team win, they'll take you.
All right, let's. I want to thank finally the Baton Rouge Rougarou fans who came out and supported us all year long, shared, liked everything. By the way, be on the lookout. Coming probably around November, we'll have some links to some new Rougarou gear. We'll have links to our new season ticket package and everything, so you can get some stuff for the holidays. We'll have some holiday specials and whatnot. That's coming up. That'll be around Thanksgiving time. But looking forward to a fantastic 2023. It was a very much a learning curve. If anybody has a $500,000 they want to donate to the city to build turf at Goldsby Field, we'd love to have you as a sponsor. We'll put your name right on the pitcher's mound forever for to the next 10 years. But yeah, that's the one thing we can't control is the weather, and we had to battle that all year. But we're working on some things for next year. So thanks everyone. By the way, the championship game, Acadiana versus the Victoria Generals, Acadiana Cane Cutters, will be Saturday night, 7:00. One game, winner take all. You can watch it on TexasCollegiateLeague.com. Special thanks to Charles Hannegriff, Hunt Palmer, all the play-by Jeff Palermo, all the different play-by-play guys that you had throughout the year. Patrick Wright, Damon Sunday from Southeastern.
Dan McDonald over in Lafayette.
Yeah, Dan McDonald, Ben Love. Special thanks to all those guys who contributed bringing the games on 104.5 as well as on TexasCollegiateLeague.com and brrougarou.com. We'll be replaying that final game on Pelican Broadcasting next couple weeks. I'm gonna get a couple dates and times set up with Bert over at Pelican to make sure we get that game replayed. We did a live game this past Tuesday, and we need to replay it the next few weeks. So as soon as I get that, I'll get Tommy to post it on the Cox Cable Guide, which is channel 20 in Baton Rouge and Lafayette, and it's 116 in New Orleans. So, TK, before we leave, tell us about Tremonti's.
Lunch special today, fried catfish topped with crawfish etouffee. They're getting all the home gate and tailgating platters ready for football. We'll have more info on that. There's a bourbon raffle going on. Go to Tremonti's.com, click the bourbon raffle tab. You got a little time on that, but you can begin checking all that out. The wine selection, the whiskey, always got great bourbon prices. 20 different flavors of sausage, the catering, steak, meat, seafood, you name it. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Jefferson Highway, right down the block from Parkview Baptist Church and School. Connect with them on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, be back on Monday. More LSU and Saints camp talk and a whole lot more. Monday morning, Sports Shorts Daily presented by. Oh, actually, we'll be back. What, Wednesday? Is it Wednesday?
Yeah, it's gonna be later in the week. I'll be out of pocket Monday and Tuesday.
All right, so next week, look for us sometime either Wednesday or Thursday. We'll be back on the air for more Sports Shorts Daily presented by LeBear's Casino. Thanks to Tremonti's and Court Street Cafe. Have a great weekend, everybody.